Yo, 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 what is up? Welcome to the channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Developer notes, balance changes. Let's get into it, boys. Faithless Litica, Holiday Euphine, Ervalen, Who Asked, Senya, ML Kawana, Rickarus, Hell Yeah, Captain Rickarus, Yunrung, and Arrowwell. Let's go. We also got Double-Edged Descent and Elensinox Wrath. Okay, so a lot of people have asked for Faithless Litica buffs. She used to be really, really good at being an opener. Now, not so much. I've seen some people try to MLM with a damaged Flitica. Big shout out to those people because I love to see it. Anyways, let's get into it. First up, Faithless Litica damage is going to be increased. Binds all enemies with a sword with a 100% chance to dispel one buff, and a critical hit will dispel one additional buff. That's actually huge. That's really, really, really cool. I really like this. Increased combat readiness of the caster by 25 per target. That's really neat. The only problem is, and I can already hear people in the comments section complaining, well, she's still not fast enough. Yep. Feels bad, man. Hysteria attacks the enemy indiscriminately, increasing skill cooldown to max and increased combat readiness of all allies by 25%. So this is going to be an even further CR push on that S3. A critical hit grants all allies skill nullifier once, negating damage received from the next skill attack. So Faithless Litica's skill, Larkspur, has been used to dispel the enemy's buffs, and then quickly use Hysteria to take advantage early in the battle. So this is going to be double CR push, by the way. That's going to be a lot. That's 50% CR push. So you're going to be able to run some super slow people with this if you really wanted to. But anyways, she was easily neutralized because, well, you know, if you only strip one buff, like, what are you even doing in current meta, right? With these with these balance adjustments, the skill effect increasing the combat readiness of the skill Larkspur Awaken will be transferred to the skill Hysteria. Okay, hold on. So this is where you get here, per target and all other allies by 5%. So binds all enemies. Before it was combat readiness by 25% target, and all other allies by 25% per target. So this is going to just increase the combat readiness of the caster by 25%, and then that extra part is going to be pushed on to the S3. So I'm wrong. So anybody who commented that prior to getting to this point of the video, yeah, I know, I reread it. So I don't know that this is going to make her a viable opener again. I think, though, that having her like a high-speed bruiser, or not high-speed, but like high-speed, not bruiser, but high-speed damage, like in an aggro comp, I think that this will still be really good because you'll be able to get rid of 2 of those buffs on anybody. So good stuff. Good stuff. People are still going to complain about this buff. Because again, it's her speed is the problem, right? She's just outshined by a lot of other openers. Holiday Euphine, just one bite, damage dealt increases. Let's eat together, reduces the effect of decreased combat readiness debuffs inflicted on allies by 50%. This skill does not stack with other passives. Increase evasion by 35%. And you get an additional 35% when the caster is at max health. Okay, so they're going to just split the difference into max health and not max. So that's fine. Not really too big of a deal at all. Euphine's special awakened. So this dispels 2 buffs, debuffs from all allies, and attack all allies in the middle of a night market. Increase attack of all allies by 2 turns. So this is going to dispel 2 buffs from all allies and attack all enemies. Increase attack of all allies by 2 for 2 turns, and increase combat readiness by 20%. I actually really don't like this change. I like greater attack on the caster. I am not a fan of this change at all. I think that this is not gonna. I mean, I guess maybe just one bite damage dealt increase will make up for it, but we'll see. One, I just really liked greater attack buff. I liked Gab on her. Holiday Euphine has been used to dispel debuffs and increase the combat readiness of allies with her skill after taking damage in the early stages of the battle. However, her contribution to the battles after the early stages has been limited. To increase her supporting ability through the entire battle, we have adjusted her skill as follows. Her skill special will be changed to increase attack of all allies for 2 turns to support all allies. Since increased attack greater is changed to increase attack, damage dealt by just 1 bite is slightly increased to compensate for this change. That's good. That's what I figured. That would be the reasoning for that change. The increased evasion effect of her skill Let's Eat Together is the same overall, but it will be increased when she has less than minimum health. That's really good. Just an extra 15%, you know, when you don't have maximum health. I think that's fine. Valen, nobody's still going to use this kid. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Vengeance rapidly attacks the enemy with a 50% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. Soul Burn increases it to a 100% chance. Previously, Sword of Hatred attacks the enemy repeatedly. When the enemy's max health is greater than the caster's max health, combat readiness of the caster increases proportional to the defense or difference up to a maximum of 30%. So this is going to attack the enemy with a sword repeatedly. When the target is an elite or boss monster, grant an extra turn to the caster. Damage dealt decreased. What? Increase attack of the caster for 2 turns. When the target is an elite or boss monster, get an extra turn. They just literally take away the entire gimmick of his kit. Okay. Heir to the Throne attacks the enemy with a sword, adopting a counter-attacking stance and granting a barrier to the caster for 2 turns. When the enemy's max health is greater than the caster's max health, damage dealt increases proportional to the difference. That's fine. Yeah. So they got rid of his. Oh, so never mind. They got rid of his combat readiness on this. Okay. All right. That makes more. Okay, this makes more sense. Grants the caster immunity for 1 turn. When the enemy's max health is greater than the caster's max health, combat readiness of the caster increases proportional to the difference up to a maximum of 30%. Okay, so this just gives you an extra turn if you're fighting an elite or boss monster. So basically they just said Valen's PvE, right? Because you would not get rid of anything here. Damage decreased as well. Cooldown is increased to 4 turns. So they're just relegating him strictly to hard PvE here. It looks like that seems to be the feel that I'm getting here. But anyways, so he's not going to be counterattacking on his S3 either. He's going to get increased speed, and damage is going to be decreased as well. Okay, so Valen was originally designed to deal high damage to enemies whose maximum health was greater than his. However, he lacked any distinguishing strength compared to other heroes. Therefore, adjustments will be made so that he can play a bit more active and aggressive role against powerful enemies such as elite and boss monsters. Okay. His skill, Sword of Hatred, is changed to grant extra a turn when the target is an elite or boss monster, allowing him to use the skill Heir to the Throne right after. His AI will also be changed to prioritize the skill Sword of Hatred first in auto battle. Okay, that's fine. His skills will increase attack and speed instead of granting immunity and adopting a counter-attacking stance. So yeah, basically they were just like, hey, guess what? Valen's PvE now, because you're not going to use this in PvP. Phew, bless me. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so they gutted him for anything PvP. Maybe he'll be usable in PvE. People who might want to use him for Banshee. I don't know what else you could use him for. If anybody has any ideas, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Be interested to see what you guys think his role would be in PvE. All right, so Senya. So they're gonna take her Indomitable Spirit, remove a random buff to all allies. They're going to give her grants a barrier to all allies for 2 turns and increases the speed of the caster for 2 turns. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's attack. This is bad because you really want kind of a slow Senya, right? You don't want her to have speed because then your counter attack's going to fall off. I don't know what they were thinking about that one. And barriers are good, but barriers aren't as good in PvP anymore because of frenzy changes. So I think the other one was probably still better. Anyways, Dragon Slayer strikes all enemies with a spear with a 100% chance to decrease a hit chance for 2 turns. They're going to add on an 85% chance to provoke. That's really, really good. That's really big because now if you land those, obviously they can't just ignore you while you got counterattack on. And counterattack stance is going to be on for 3 turns. So I guess that kind of makes up for the extra speed, right? Senya will be adjusted to eliminate the uncertainty of Grace of the Battlefield, activated from her passive skill, Indomitable Spirit, and grant fixed buffs to provide stable efficiency. In addition, she can use her skill, Indomitable Spirit, to counterattack more efficiently. As her skill, Dragon Slayer Strike will now have a chance to provoke the enemies and provide a longer duration of a counterattacking stance. All right, yeah, that's fair. That's understandable. So in line with this balance adjustment, Senya's exclusive equipment option 2 and 3 will be adjusted. Extends the buff duration of Grace of the Battlefield random buff, is going to increase barrier strength. And then exclusive equipment grants increased attack greater for 3 turns to make up for the difference in the counterattacking stance. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, so Great Chief Kawana. Increase critical hit chance by 30%. Increase attack of the caster by 25%. Increase attacks can stack up to 3 times. So they're just going to take that 5 times and then cut it down to 3 so that you ramp up faster overall. So that's literally the only change. Great Chief Kawana will undergo changes to improve your usability in PvE, such as Katie's Hunt. Okay, fantastic. All right. Captain Ricorous. I am a big fan of Captain Ricorous personally, so you know it is what it is. His S3 Supreme Spear. We're not even going to talk about regular Ricorous. Who cares? So attacks all enemies with a spear art with a 100% chance to dispel 1 buff from the target before a 75% chance to restrict for 2 turns, has a 75% chance to stun the enemy with the highest combat radius for 1 turn, regardless of whether the attack hits, and recover the caster's health amount. Okay, so this is going to decrease debuff duration of all allies by 2 turns and attack all enemies with a spear art with an 80% chance each to inflict decreased speed and restrict. I don't like that. Where's my 75% chance to stun? Where's my my strip? That was one of the coolest gimmicks about him, was that he would strip and stun the highest combat readiness person. And it didn't matter if you missed. Damage is increased. Cooldown set to 5 turns. Yikes. Health rune. They're changing health to attack. Defense to critical hit chance. Critical hit chance of all allies to attack of all allies. Damage dealt increases by 20% when inflicting dark enemies. Increased damage dealt by quick pierce by 10%. 30% chance to inflict additional damage when attacking a dark element. When quick pierce has a 100% chance to recover 5% of damage dealt. Increase all Supreme Spear's effect chances by 20%. So it'll have 100% chance to inflict speed down and restrict. 100% chance to dispel a debuff from the caster when the caster's health is 20% at the start of the turn. When using cheer, has a 10% chance to extend increase speed buff by 3 turns. The start of the turn when the caster does not have a debuff has a 100% chance to increase attack for 1 turn. I hate this. Yeah, I hate this. I hate this change. This change is trash. This Captain Ricorous will now have a different skill effect, so that he can be used more efficiently as an aggressive attacker in PvE content, such as Katie's Hunt. He will also have adjusted rune effects, which were difficult to utilize before the adjustments. Supreme Spear will now have decreased the debuff duration on allies for 2 turns instead of dispelling buffs from all enemies. His stun will be changed to decrease speed. Yeah, so they just gutted an actual interesting character for a Katie's Hunt. Yeah, I'm not happy about this. Yeah, I'm not happy about this change at all. I actually really liked Captain Ricorous. This is kind of a garbage change. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Yoon Young, decrease debuff duration by 1 turn on Battle Cry, and decrease debuff increased attack. Raises the morale of all allies, granting increased attack for 2 turns and decreasing debuff. So the problem with that is that if you have unbuffable and you have 1 turn, you're not going to get the attack buff because it doesn't decrease the debuff duration beforehand. Battlecry will now grant increased attack to all allies and decrease debuff duration on allies for 1 turn instead of increasing speed. With these adjustments, we expect her to be used more frequently in various PvE content. Unlikely. Arrowwell, wow, let's see what they did to Arrowwell. Okay, so attacks with a sword and shield with a 75% chance each to dispel 2 buffs. Damage dealt increases proportion to the caster's max health, increasing damage, and increases proc chance to 100%. Okay. Escort at the start of the battle and at the end of the turn grants escort to the caster for 1 turn. After an ally, except for the caster, suffers a single attack, increase combat readiness of the caster by 10%. That's actually really good. That's actually really nice. If they specialty changed her and kept that, that would be really sick. Defensive position, attack scaling decreased, health scaling increased. Okay, attacks the enemy with a 100% chance to stun for 1 turn. Damage dealt increases proportion to the caster's max health. Okay, fair. The one problem though with escort is grants a barrier to the ally with the lowest health for 2 turns at the start of the battle and at the start of the caster's turn. Barrier strength. So no more barrier, but you do get escort. And if anybody gets attacked, you cycle faster. So you get 10% increase. So that's not bad. That's not too bad at all. And then it gets rid of the soul burn there. I mean, I think that she's okay. I don't think that anybody is going to be like going out of their way to use Arrowwell. If I had to guess. So the 3 stars kind of lackluster changes. Lensonox Wrath. So we used to caster's critical hit chance increases by 1 to 2% whenever somebody's turn starts. Can stack up to 20 times. Now it's going to increase combat or increase critical hit chance by 15%. After activating an extra attack on the caster's turn, increases combat readiness by 10 to 20%. So they're making this really good for Alencia, obviously. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Although I think that's pretty much the only person. Really, I'm sure there's a couple of other people that would be able to use it, but it's going to be for Alencia, basically. Double-edged Descent. After making a single attack, increase the caster's attack by 5 to 10%, with a 15 to 30% chance to silence the enemy for 1 turn. This is her Valen's artifact. So now increase evasion by 20%. After successfully evading, has a 15 to 30% chance to counterattack. Okay. That's pretty sweet, actually. Yeah, I like that change. I think that's actually going to be real. That's going to be really good. Oh, put that on like a MRSA? Bro. Put that on a Rylet? This could be real big for Rylet. Yo, he's going to counterattack on evasion. 30% chance to counterattack if you have this thing maxed out. Focus charges on the S1. Counterattack set without a counterattack set. I actually think that's really good. I think that's gonna be really, really sweet. Double-edged descent had a limited usability as it could only be triggered by a single attack and had a low silence probability. With these adjustments, its effect will be changed to increase evasion and grant counterattack chance. The thief heroes can use it more effectively. Yeah, I kind of like that one. Overall, I think these changes are pretty mediocre. A lot of these were just PvE changes. The Flitica change is okay. I think it's all right. I don't think it's super amazing. Holiday Euphine is okay. Not too many people use her, but like Urvalens is not great. It's PvE focused. Senya's is pretty good. Senya's is all right. The Provoke is huge. I really like the Provoke. The 3 stars are all mediocre and forgettable. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's okay. Nothing super crazy. Who asked for Valen changes? Gross.